Hey everybody, I'm Joe. Thank you for joining me. I'm here with the fourth round of a Modern Friendly League. I won the die roll, so I will be on the play. Let's have a look at the hand. This is an easy keep in pretty much any matchup in the blind. Early Spreading Seas if we need it, early Harbinger if we need it, and then some great mid-game plays with Reejerey and Great Glass Spinner. Lands and spells. Not the most powerful hand in the world, but an easy keep. Opponent went to 6 and decided to keep. We can check. Put a card on the bottom. So we're feeling pretty good about that. Just play one of our islands and pass the turn to them. Okay, Windswept Heath into an untapped Temple Garden for Noble Hierarch. Hard to tell what this could be at this point. It could be anything from just straight up sort of green-white sort of beats with Loxodon Smiter and Kozali Pride Mage with Exalted. Could really be a lot of stuff. Modern's pretty wide open. Seeing the Harbinger, I feel pretty good about... seeing the Hierarch, I feel pretty good about having this Harbinger. We can slow down their development if they choose to tap this next turn for mana. So this turn, I feel pretty good just about... Now, it's tricky, right? Because we drew this AEther Vial on our second turn, which is always extremely clunky. We can play the AEther Vial now and get it ticking up as soon as possible. But we do have enough lands that we can play a 2-drop next turn and play AEther Vial. And to me, that just seems better. We don't know. The opponent might have kept his mulligan to 6 based on the fact that they had 1 land and a Mana Dork. If we shut him off of this Temple Garden, we could potentially slow down his development a lot. So I think it's correct here to play the Spreading Seas and draw a card, better inform our plans for the subsequent turns. 2 AEther Vials is a little bit clunky, but at least we drew through it. Okay, so Eldrazi Temple pretty much gives the game away here. I feel slightly worse about having played the Spreading Seas there because the opponent might be on Bant Eldrazi, and I just gave him blue mana, but I guess he had blue mana with Hierarch anyway. So not a big deal. At least we have access to Island Walk when we need it. Okay, so blue and 2 colorless for what? What's happening here? Okay, Matter Reshaper. I'm never too afraid of this guy. I mean, we typically don't want to block and trade with him because he just gets replaced with a card. So we just take the damage for a while. So the opponent goes to attack, and this is a pretty rookie mistake to me. I mean, he knows he's playing against Merfolk now, so he should know that Harbinger is a real thing, and attacking with Noble Hierarch for 1 damage. It's possible that he has no more green mana. If I bounce this Hierarch, he might just be stuck with it in his hand. So this turn I can play my 3rd land, as I was mentioning, play a Harbinger, and play an AEther Vial. Drew into a Master of Waves, so we're going to be able to curve out in the sort of late game. But everything's a little bit slow right now. Harbinger is slowing down the opponent, so we're sort of keeping pace here. So there's more green mana. Okay, goes to attack. Definitely not blocking this guy. Take 3, going down to 16. And what does the opponent have now? Alright, well, Thought-Knot Seer on turn 3. This guy coming out on turn 2 or turn 3 is one of the strongest plays in Modern, I think. It's such a beating. He gets to take whatever card he wants from our hand. And it's a 4/4 body. So if we don't have Island Walk, this guy is just like a brick wall, basically. So I'm trying to click ahead here. He took the Master of Waves. Interesting decision because I don't have a 4th land. And Kira can be pretty rough for them to deal with. Take up AEther Vial. I drew a Lord, which is fantastic because we've already established Island Walk. And I'm just going to jam Kira here to turn off any of the opponent's potential removal spells. These Eldrazi decks do play Path to Exile. They do play Dismember. Cannot attack with the Harbinger yet. So we're setting ourselves up to get hit for a big chunk of damage here. No blocks, really. We can't really do any profitable trades or anything, so take 7 all the way down to 9. Opponent follows up, just gets the Hierarch back on the board, and it's pretty slow stuff on their part. It makes me feel good about bouncing that Hierarch earlier. Just bluff Aether Vial on the end step. No real reason. Can tick the Aether Vial up here. So I drew the Spreading Seas, and just based on the board state, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could play Spreading Seas on the Temple, hope that they don't have another land, and turn them off of like Reality Smasher mana. If we hit the Temple, they've still got colorless from the Brush land, and they can play another Thought-Knot Seer if that's what they have. It seems to me like the more effective play here is to run out the Reejerey. The opponent doesn't know that I have the Lord of Atlantis here, and if he attacks next turn with the board as it stands, I can sort of surprise with a Lord and trade with the Thought-Knot, drawing a card, which seemed pretty good. So in the end, I went with Reejerey here. I'm going to swing with Kira because I'm not blocking with her anyway. She's too important. So opponent 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So unfortunately, it looks like Spreading Seas may have been the correct play last turn. So I'm going to bring the Lord in. They're totally tapped out. If I'm going to surprise them, just might as well do it now. Actually, I want him there for blocks anyway, so you have to do it at the end of declare attacks. Now my plan before was to just block and trade the Thought-Knot, which would leave me with the 2 Lords and Kira on the table. I would take 8 and go all the way down to 1, leaving the Matter Reshaper and the Reality Smasher and Matter Reshaper on the board. But seeing this Reality Smasher, I think we might need to do a little bit more. And actually, in hindsight, I think I might have made a miscalculation here. It's very easy to do if you're not thinking very carefully. So there's sort of a cascading effect that happens when Lords die, right? So Harbinger is currently a 4/4, so it looks like he can eat the Matter Reshaper, but when one of these Lords dies, he's going to become a 3/3, and the 3 mark damage will kill him. So I'm going to lose the Harbinger here, actually trading with Matter Reshaper, and the opponent's going to get to choose which of the Lords he wants to kill. What would have been better, actually, if I wanted to do the same thing, the same result in trading with the Thought-Knot and trading with the Matter Reshaper, is I should have put the Harbinger in front of the Thought-Knot. And if I wanted to keep the Island Walk Lord, which I probably did, I should have put the Merrow Reejerey in front of the Matter Reshaper. That way, we would have had a trade for the Thought-Knot with the Harbinger, and then a trade with the Matter Reshaper, leaving the Island Walk Lord. I have more devotion for like a Master of Waves, but that's not next turn anyway, since I don't have the mana or the Master of Waves. Or just Island Walk Beats, which is one of the few things that can help us here. I guess Harbinger is also good to slow down the Reality Smasher. But again, just a slight miscalculation because the opponent in this arrangement gets to choose which of my creatures live and which of them die. If I put the Harbinger over here with the Lord to try to double block then and kill the Reality Smasher, I don't have good blocks over here then. I could double block with the Lords on the Reality Smasher, leaving the Thought-Knot. But then again, the Harbinger... Let's see, how could I have done this better? I thought quite a bit during the actual scenario. What if I put Harbinger on the Thought-Knot, and then the 2 Lords on the Reality Smasher? Then the Smasher dies, but both of my Lords die, and the Thought-Knot dies. I would take no trample damage, I'd draw a card, and the opponent would be left with a Matter Reshaper. I'd have a Kira on the table, and I get to play the Spreading Seas next turn and top deck something. In hindsight now, that actually seems best to me. I feel like I should have put both Lords on the Reality Smasher, trade with the Thought-Knot, and just take 3 from the Matter Reshaper. I'd go down to 6. I'd still have Kira, though. Let's see how this pans out. The opponent's going to choose to kill my Island Walk Lord, and as I mentioned, the slight miscalculation that the opponent's going to trade with the Harbinger rather than eating their Matter Reshaper. So it dies, it gets a trigger, and very unfortunately for us, they happen to hit another Matter Reshaper on the top of their deck. So I took 5 from the Reality Smasher. I'm left with Reejerey. Okay, well, I drew a Lord. If I did the blocks that I said, the Reality Smasher would be gone, and the first Matter Reshaper would still be there, and I'd be at 6, and I'd be down a Reejerey. I feel like that's just a much better place to be. So I think, obviously, we're going to play out the Spreading Seas and hope to draw something good. But we drew another land, and I think that pretty much sank us here. Let's see. Play the AEther Vial after playing a tapped Wanderwine Hub, hopefully representing, that I have nothing in hand. Attacking with Kira was greedy here, but having drawn into that extra land and having only a Master in hand here, I think the opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. They can't play another Reality Smasher. So I feel like I can get in with Kira here, bring in another Master next turn, and then block the Reality Smasher with both Lords, take the Matter Reshaper going down to 1, and then just hopefully draw something good, like a Master of Waves. So attacking with Kira is a little bit greedy, but if we're not hitting the opponent's life total, then we're not going to win the game. So land doesn't look too good. Land and a second Reality Smasher really ruins us. We can't really do anything about it, so at that point I scooped. But if we think back to the other scenario, if I had double blocked his first Reality Smasher and killed that guy, Reejerey would be gone here. He'd still have a Matter Reshaper. I'd have this Lord in hand, and I'd be at 6 life. So in this spot, he would have a Reality Smasher to attack. It's possible I would have left the Kira up in this scenario then. Bring the Lord in, block the Matter Reshaper, and take 5 from this Reality Smasher going. I would have been at 6 going down to 1. I wish I could draw a card to see if I would have hit Master of Waves or something, but I guess we'll never know. So combat math against these Eldrazi decks can be really tricky, especially if you make calculation errors like I did with the Harbinger of the Tides. So I definitely learned something by reviewing this match. I hope you guys found it interesting. I'm going to click out of here and go to the replay interface, so if you want to look away, please do so. Alright, I'm back. I'll be on the play this time. Let's look at the hand. Oh, this is super excellent. 2 Harbingers, 2 Silvergills, and a Kira. Can't ask for more. The opponent apparently likes his hand as well. We'll play an island and pass the turn. We see a Grove of the Burn Willows. Interesting card for green-white Tron to play. Tron. I just thought Tron from Burn Willows. A green-white Eldrazi. We didn't see any blue mana last game, so I assume the opponent's just on green-white, not on Bant. Bant Eldrazi. Okay, Ceremonious Rejection. That's extremely exciting because it can counter anything. It can counter a Reality Smasher. We're going to run out of Silvergill Adept and hope to draw into lands here. AEther Vial is kind of like a land, and it gives me an excuse to leave up 1 mana for Ceremonious Rejection next turn. Alright, well here is another turn 2 Matter Reshaper. Very aggressive. Don't hit that 3rd land, which is a bit of a bummer, but as I mentioned, we have an excuse to play out AEther Vial and leave Ceremonious Rejection up. Opponent plays and cracks a Windswept Heath for the turn, getting a Plains, and a Thought-Knot Seer. Now, this is one of the best uses I've had for Ceremonious Rejection so far, since I've started running it. I think I was talking in the first game about how much of a blowout this guy is, how strong of a play it is in Modern on turn 2 or turn 3, to take the opponent's best card out of their hand and get a 4/4 body on the floor. But Ceremonious Rejection just totally turns the tables, because for 1 mana, I get to counter their 4-drop 4/4. And then take my turn. I get to take AEther Vial up, play a spell. The opponent chose not to attack with Matter Reshaper. It's very interesting. I wonder why that is. They almost always attack with that guy. So Master of Waves, Not unhappy to see that guy, but at this point I'd really like to see lands. With the opportunity to do so, though, I'm going to bounce this Noble Hierarch. We want to take advantage of Harbinger's ability whenever it's presented to us, since it can be such a tempo swing. We take the opponent off of 1 mana, we make his attacks worse with Matter Reshaper. Yeah, it seems like just a strict misplay for him last turn to not attack with the Matter Reshaper. It looks like he might have been tilted after Ceremonious Rejection, but he had Exalted, so he would have been attacking as a 4-3. I couldn't have even traded with him if I wanted to. So playing Harbinger also develops a lot of devotion for Master of Waves. Eternal Witness, interesting. So it's possible he can get this Thought Knot back, but it looks like he's going to choose to go for the Windswept Heath here. It's interesting. That'll allow him to put the Noble Hierarch back on the battlefield. Also makes me think that he might be low on mana. Okay, so again, just passing the turn instead of attacking with Exalted. Not sure what's going on with that Matter Reshaper. Take Aether Vial up, and now we're really rolling. Here's a 3rd land, which is exactly what I wanted. So what do you guys do in this play, in this turn? We've got a lot of options, right? We can run the Silvergill Adept out right away, maybe draw Mutavault and play that instead of the Wanderwine Hub. We can leave Aether Vial up to hopefully catch him with Harbinger of the Tides next turn if he does attack with something. Maybe he'll play out Reality Smasher, in which case we could bounce with the Harbinger. Well, for me, I like that option of leaving Aether Vial up, and with 3 mana now, it seems pretty clear to me that we want to get Kira onto the board, because we can get such good value protecting our creatures, especially since he's pretty much tapped out right now. So let's play that land. I think I revealed like a Silvergill or something. No, Master of Waves, I guess. Doesn't really matter which one we reveal. Okay, there's Kira. And no good attacks yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there quickly. Okay, Ancient Stirrings. What did they find off of that? Eldrazi Displacer, interesting. Eldrazi Displacer could have nice interaction with Eternal Witness, getting a lot of value back from the graveyard. I guess that's one of the main interactions maybe in this white-green Eldrazi build. One of the few combos is Eldrazi Displacer with Eternal Witness. Every time this guy gets blinked, he gets to grab a Thought Knot or an Ancient Stirrings out of the graveyard. That's pretty sick, actually. Fortunately, right now, he's tapped too low to use the bounce ability, right? So, is he going to attack yet? He's playing very, very defensively right now. But I guess if he attacked, he saw that the Aether Vial is up. There's potentially a justification for it this turn. So, with nobody tapped, I'm just going to run out the Silvergill and just draw a card. Okay, let's go. Trying to click through all this priority stuff. Okay, well, Dismember is pretty sweet. We can play a 2-drop and leave Dismember up to deal with whatever we need to deal with. As I mentioned, Displacer and Witness is so much value, we could get rid of the Displacer if we feel it necessary. Okay, so this is a situation, actually, where I put a stop on my upkeep and activate Aether Vial with its trigger on the stack so that I can go up to 4 next turn and get the Master of Waves into play no matter what, even if I don't draw another land. So Aether Vial will advance to 3, and I'll go to my draw step, where I hit a Spreading Seas. So nobody's tapped right now. Harbinger's not a really great choice, so pretty easy decision just to go ahead and play out the Spreading Seas. I'll put it on this Brushland. In hindsight, it might have been better to put it on the Grove of the Burnwillows, because I'm not sure what he's got that red mana there for. He could have something like a Pyroclasm, which would actually be totally devastating on my side. But it'd be pretty rough on his side as well. Yeah, anyhow, I probably should have hit the red mana, since he doesn't have any other access to it. But as it stands, I hit the Brushland. And drew into Ceremonious Rejection, probably my best possible top deck. With this Lord on the table, I guess with that Spreading Seas was an excellent draw, because I've got very nice attacks right now. I can swing for 9 with Island Walk, and 2 in the air, potentially bring the opponent all the way down to 6. He's got 3 cards in hand. I've got a Kira, and he's got Hierarch and 1 land untapped. So he could have double removal, double path, dismember path, double dismember, something like that. If he was able to deal with my Lord after I committed to a big attack, he'd still be taking 2 from the Kira. He would get to trade with a Silvergill or a Harbinger if he wanted to with the Eternal Witness. He could trade as well. But I'd be able to kill this Eldrazi Displacer. So he wouldn't be able to eat any of my creatures as a 3/3. So I felt pretty solid. If he doesn't have the double removal, then next turn I'll have Ceremonious Rejection. If he does have the double removal for the Lord, then I've got Dismember to prevent too many blowouts in combat. And I'll still be left with Kira, chipping in as a flyer every turn. Let's see what the opponent has here. Getting in for 11. Opponent cracks a Windswept, which I'm thinking maybe he has something like Blessed Alliance, I think is the name of the card, where I have to sacrifice an attacking creature. I think it's a forest, and oh no, so he's going for Dismember here. So that's going to get countered. The opponent's already down to 12 from 16. Is it possible that he forgot about Kira? Probably not. Well, it's another Dismember. The opponent just hit themselves for 8 life. To get rid of my Lord. So in response to this Dismember, let's think for a second about what the opponent was planning on doing. He could have blocked and eaten one of my creatures. It's possible that he would have just traded them with the Matter Reshaper and left the Eternal Witness, in which case he could start getting value off the Displacer and the Eternal Witness next turn. And I'd be left with just... what? He would eat my Harbinger probably, trade with Silvergill. I'd be left with like Kira and a Silvergill. Seems pretty good on the opponent's side. But I've got a Dismember of my own that I'm actually casting in response to this Dismember. Didn't really matter if I did it in response. I just need to do it before blocks. I think this is the first time I just like kind of unlocked an achievement in Magic Online where 3 consecutive Dismembers were played. It's pretty cool. Alright, so my Lord dies, and now the opponent gets to choose how they're going to block. And without the Displacer anymore, I guess they figure it's time that they can just trade this Eternal Witness. Having taken so much damage from the Dismembers, the opponent takes 4 and goes all the way down to 4. Not sure what they hit off of that reality, the Matter Reshaper. Oh, they hit another Matter Reshaper, so good for them, but they need a way to get rid of this Kira, because I only need 2 more attack steps, and I'm at 18 life. Well, it's pretty good stuff. They've got a Matter Reshaper, a Reality Smasher. All of this stuff is so hard to say. Matter Reshaper, Reality Smasher. And looks like he's getting in. It's pretty aggressive. He can't win in 2. I guess if he has another Reality Smasher, he can attack next turn for 10. I don't know. I mean, he pretty much has to, right? Because at 2 turns, he's going to lose to Kira. So we use our AEther Vial, drew into a Seize Claim. I think I'm going to bounce the Harbinger, bounce the Reality Smasher with the Harbinger, and leave up mana for Ceremonious Rejection. I mean, the opponent can't win through that. Alright, so bounce that guy, get in for 2 with Kira. Opponent at 2, and actually at this point, the opponent scooped, so... yeah, we got there against green-white Eldrazi. We never found out what this red mana was for. Made some calculation errors in one of the games in combat, but nothing terrible, but some things that we can learn from. The opponent would have won that game anyway, I think, with double Reality Smasher. But we did our best. You can see these Seize effects are very helpful so that we can get through our Island Walk beats. You can also see how painful it can be for decks to use multiple Dismembers. The opponent was at 16 life and went immediately down to 8, and after combat they were at 4. Also, we can see how effective Kira is. When we don't have Island Walk online, Kira doesn't really care, she just keeps chipping in. So, Ceremonious Rejection, a huge blowout. We were able to hit the opponent's Thought-Knot Seer early in the game. So feeling really, really good about this card. We're currently sitting at 3-1 in this Modern Friendly League. Please tune in for the next video where I will be going to the 5th round, 5th and final. Please leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in that next video. Thank you guys. Bye.